Hello, my YouTube beauties. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be doing a 2020 favorite books favorites. That was stupid. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my top books that I read from 2020. 2020 was I feel like everything happened and nothing at the same time. So it's just a lot to think about. I did do a lot of reading this year. I think I only read maybe 34 books. Not gonna lie, when I started 2020, I read a lot more, and then the pandemic hit and I was like, what is life? Over the last couple months, I've gotten back into it. So before we hop in, be sure to subscribe because I do upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And if you're enjoying the video while you're watching, you can give it a thumbs up. As you know, I'm horrible at describing books. I like to basically read a little blurb about what the book is in the description of the book. It's really hard for me to sum up books, especially ones that I've read now almost a year ago. If you are a reader like me, I would love for you to comment down below what are your favorite books in 2020. I did a lot of professional reading this year, so I'm not going to be including any of those. And of course, the books I'm going to mention are not all of the ones I've read, they're just my favorites. The reason why I'm not including the physical copies in this video is because either it was borrowed from a friend, I got it from the library, it was on Audible, or I can't find it. So I'm just going to be kind of showing you what the book looks like and then giving you kind of a synopsis of what the book was about. So the very first book I read, actually I read it in January last year. 2020, January 2020, I read it. This is called The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendrix and Sarah Pekkanen. Don't know how to say that last name. Also, don't come after me for mispronouncing last names. Okay, I'm not a word genius, okay? I'm a social worker. So I really liked this book. You have a couple different main characters in the book. What really intrigued me was when I read the description of this book, it said, when you read the book, you'll make many assumptions. You'll assume that it's about a jealous ex-wife. And then I just was kind of hooked because I was like, oh, so it's not, So this book was, I thought, very thrilling to read. I got through it really fast. Basically, it says all the things you assume. You assume it's about a jealous ex-wife. She's obsessed with her beautiful younger woman that's about to marry the man that they both love, and you should assume nothing. It's you basically read most of the book and then find out little bits and pieces of what's really going on as you're reading, and you don't really know what is fully happening until the very end of the book. So it was very, it pulled you in and had you very interested. It was a little twisted. It was definitely a little chilling. All the things that you want in a mystery novel, a thriller, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well written. I did not read all of Red Queen in 2020. I read most of the books in 2019, and then I finished up War Storm in 2020 by Victoria Aveyard. This book was an unbelievable finale to the Red Queen series. If you have read the Red Queen, if you read a few books, you gotta read all of them because they're so freaking good. The Red Queen series kind of reminds me of Hunger Games in a way. It's a very dystopian universe that they are fighting for freedom and for changing of rights for people. And of course there's love and all of that. The whole series is just a whirlwind. It's a roller coaster of a love story, a war story, and community. I thought it was really good ending. It was my favorite book from the Red Queen series. It was so good. About Mare, which is the main character, choosing between two different sides. One side that is evil, and both of these sides she loves parts of, and there's one brother that maybe isn't so great, and then there's another brother that is really great, or fights for the right things, and she basically has to choose between the two. It does say in the description, in the epic conclusion to Victoria Aveyard's stunning series, Mare must embrace her fate and summon all of her power, for all will be tested, but not all will survive. It was just so good. Such a great young adult novel. The next book that I thought was just so unique and awesome was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Now, I initially bought the Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, and then I was like, wait, she has another book that she's written before that called The Night Circus. And I actually enjoyed The Night Circus more than The Starless Sea, I'll tell you that. This was such a different book for me. I thought that the writing was so different. Like you read it and you think it's a young adult novel. It's totally not. It is whimsical, magical, hard to know really what's going on. Like the way that she writes is so, I don't know, it's a little hard to follow, so you have to pay very careful attention when she is writing. It is a circus that comes to town, and it travels between different places, and it's only open at night. And it's about like the main character, you know, learning about the different acts in the circus and what the circus is really about. And it just was so magical and awesome, and it totally transported you into like a whole different world that was just awesome. Next book that was one of my favorites, actually, it's definitely more of a like humor young adult book. It's called The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. That's what it looks like. It's basically like a rom-com in a book. I really appreciated it because I don't read many books like this. It's about a main character named Olive who she's very, very unlucky in like everything that she does, but she does have a twin sister who is getting married in the book, and it's just about like her experience being involved in the wedding, going along with everything, and like there's some romance tied into it. And it was just really great, like a humorous rom-com kind of book. So I would really recommend that one. Like I said, I'm gonna try to skip through the books that are more like professional books, because there's definitely some really good books that I read this year that are more for social work, you know, professionals. Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Oh my God. Brene Brown just speaks to me on like another level. I cannot even tell you how good this book is. I guess this is the only book I'll mention. Okay, it's called Daring Greatly. Looks like this. It is a book about how the courage to be vulnerable transforms the way we live, love, parent, and lead. I just loved Brene's comments and like the way that she experiences the world through a lens of like vulnerability and shame. And I just thought it was so real. It was so authentic. It was so awesome for her to share those stories and to really share, okay, how can we be a more vulnerable people to be able to have experiences that really matter. And I will read like a quote that she often references in the book. It's by Theodore Roosevelt. It says, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly." That is just gonna like, oh, I'm gonna start crying. It was so good. If you are looking for like the best self-help or interesting book you've ever read, Daring Greatly is that book. I have to touch on The Overstory by Richard Powers. Oh my God. This, I don't even know how to describe this book. Like it is just so, it is one of, I think it's probably the most beautifully written book I've ever read. It's almost like a series of poems tied into a story. It's a bunch of small stories that end up winding together at the end, but the stories are about activism and resistance for like supporting the natural world. I just thought it was awesome. If you are into nature, if you are into science, that is an awesome book. You know, the whole underlying thing with the book is that like everyone is so interconnected, kind of very similar to trees and their roots and how like it's just the whole planet is interconnected. It was so cool. The next book I want to mention is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This was like one of the best thriller books I've ever read, I think. This book is about a main character named Anna Fox. She lives alone and basically she's watching the world from the inside out. And one day she sees her neighbors doing some stuff that is like very shocking, and it's all about her like uncovering like who's in danger, what's real, what is imagined, and who's in control. It says, in this diabolically gripping thriller, no one and nothing is what it seems. It was so freaking good. I think I read it in like a day. This book is called Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. This was like everything I've ever wanted in a magical book. I don't know. It was kind of like what I wanted The Starless Sea to be, really. Like, I wanted a story that kind of swept you away into a different world, but had a really solid, strong plot. And that's what this one was. This is a very woman-strong kind of book. Main character, her name is Miriam. She's the daughter and granddaughter of moneylenders. Basically, her father has the inability to collect his debts for his family, and so Miriam ends up taking it into her own hands, becomes this like entrepreneur gal, but then her fate is kind of like intertwined with this other life, this other royal life. It's kind of about being torn between the life that you like really fought hard for and are very proud of and like love. It is definitely very magical. Like, this is not based in any specific region of the world. Like, it's definitely made up. It says, channeling the vibrant heart of myth and fairy tale, Spinning Silver weaves a multi-layered magical tapestry that readers will want to return to again and again. I gotta, like, this was probably one of my most highest rated books of the year. Like, I'd say out of all of these, if you are going to get one that just totally sweeps you up, is an amazing read the entire time, that would be Spinning Silver. We're getting down to the last few here. This is called Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. It was so good. This is about the streets of London and the monsters and saints and things in London below. So there's London and then there's London below. I did not think I would enjoy this book nearly as much as I did. It was so creative the way that it was written. This book totally opened me up to a world of like books written by Neil Gaiman because, oh my gosh, he is amazing. I just think he's brilliant, really. I plan to read a lot of other books that he's written, but this one was, again, magical, fairy tale-like, about an average guy who ends up running into a woman and it totally changes his world. It kind of flips it upside down, if you will, to London below, and then like there's a whole world that he didn't even know was there in London below. It was awesome. Highly recommend. I think the last book I'm going to mention in this video is called The Wish Collector by Mia Sheridan. Okay, think Phantom of the Opera. That's pretty much all you need to know to love this book. It says, The Wish Collector is the story of shame and triumph, of loneliness and love, and the miracle of two hearts connecting despite the strongest barriers between them. It very much gave me Phantom of the Opera vibes, but it was awesome, really well written, and I thought it was just a really, really solid love story. So there you have it. I will have all the books that I mentioned down below if you are interested in checking any of them out. This is like my first books of 2020 favorites video that I've ever done. So if you want me to keep doing them, please let me know if you found this helpful. I am really getting into more book review videos. So that's something I've been really looking to get like recommendations for books that I should read in the future. So that's going to be it for my 2020 book favorites. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I would love it if you left your book recommendations for me down below because I love checking out books that you guys are interested in as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video here. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.